bear with me. Just bear with me. Okay. I think we're there. Setting. Don't worry, I'm not speaking up yet. Okay. Live on all three. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning, Europe. It is the Tuesday, the 21st of April in the good year of 2026, and the markets will open in approximately 3-4 minutes. Today I want to do something a little different. I want to have a communion of sort with you. The reason why I want to do that is because yesterday I had an experience where I was in doubt about what to do with a particular chart pattern, and I have sent a message out to the Telegram group saying, hey, what did you see? And I felt that that was a worthwhile initiative, because who's to say that I see everything? Who's not to say that you perhaps see something differently, and I wanted to know what that was. Or maybe you saw it as I did. But here's the pattern in question. So we'll come back to that in due course. Let's trade the DAX open and the FTSE open. We'll be looking out for school run, espresso, first bar negative, first bar positive. And here's the account. No open positions, no open orders. The account balance is the same as it was in the screenshot that I sent to you last night. Although, and apologies that I didn't manage to make it to the Al Brooks trading room. They had issues with their software. So we can look at the DAX with a couple of minutes to go. Right now, we got a high at 522. In order to execute an espresso box, we would need to have 522 plus about, call it 17. Well, let's say we call it 20 to begin with. So that will be 542, which is up here. Now that I've gotten so bloody good at drawing these amazing lines, well, there they are. And to the low side, and just want to show you where are we in terms of gap up or gap down. We have a reasonably sized gap up. The current low, well, current low is actually the low right now. So if we're operating with a low of, say, 24,512, minus 17 is going to get us what? 95, give or take. So, oh, not that good at drawing those lines yet. There we go. Okay, so these are the rough lines, and I'll probably adjust them in a second, although it doesn't look like I have to. So now I can put my buy order here and my sell order here. And then I can get rid of the orders. Did I just get rid of the... No, I think they're there. And here's the order system. So all is in, orders are in place. So as I said, we got a gap up, and now we're just waiting. We're trading very firmly inside the overnight range. Just looking over at the FTSE, got a test of the overnight low moments before trading got going. And let's go back to the DAX. So far, no follow through. And then you, hopefully by now, you know the score, that if this is not filled within the first 3 1-minute bars, well, then the odds of success is rapidly disappearing. I'm quite excited because I haven't read your comments yet. So I think it's always good to try new things in the spirit of growth, in the spirit of enlightenment and wisdom. Okay, over in the FTSE, we have had a big push higher. Not quite to the top of the overnight range, but now it looks like we're setting up for a first bar negative. How would I feel about a first bar negative? Well, look at if I get rid of my exuberant blue lines that I learned to draw yesterday. No, but it's kind of laughable, isn't it? Because I asked for those lines, I don't know, 6-9 months ago, and then blissfully unaware, God, I really want to be able to draw some lines. And then I got like 15 or 20 members of my software group. I was going, yeah, that's kind of old news, mate. You should just listen to your own advice. So now I'm all excited like a kid in a candy store. Oh, I found a new tool to draw. Anyway, back to it. The FTSE has settled into a trading range and is, approximating the all-time highs. And you gotta assume, looking at the daily chart and the weekly chart, that will happen. Meaning that the geopolitical situation that is currently a quagmire in the Middle East will hopefully, and accordingly to the market, work itself out. Right, unusual. We got one. So we need to delete these lines now, I believe. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, let's delete them. Not sure why. No, there are the numbers. I thought there would be numbers on the 1-minute chart as well, but there isn't. Yes, okay, not to worry. If we had used this approach, the espresso approach, we would have been filled by now. I think it was the line in the sand was 95, so we would have been filled on the spread. And we have got a first bar negative setting up in the FTSE, so please stand by for that. That might even be buyers setting up here below the overnight range. $24,509 minus 17 would give us 92, so we wouldn't have been filled. I'd had to adjust that. Good thing I deleted it in time and I didn't see that. So we got a first bar negative in the FTSE. I would like to buy the FTSE of a test of this area. So I put in a buy order. I'll show you that buy order here. There we go. What are my risk? Well, my risk is that we need to see yesterday's lows, which was down at 580. If I have a stop loss at 604, my stop loss is, so that is, I don't know if you saw that, but it actually just went down to my order low. My order is at 604 and it went 603.8, but with a spread not filled. Well, that sucks a bit. Well, it does if it goes there and then bounces. Context, we're trading within the overnight range. Bar 2 is trading within the range of bar 1 in the DAX. We are gap up, not hugely, but we are gap up. Market closed at 24,417 yesterday. We're at about 100 points higher. Here's my order, and there's nothing open. The irony is that if I had used the actual tool I had developed, which is this one here, I think you'll be able to see that my order actually would have been filled. Or would it, let me see. We went as low as 3.8. My order was 4.5 with spread. Let's see that if I had changed this to buy. Okay. Yes, I would have been filled. There you go. I'm going to delete this one. So just to be clear, I actually should be long now in the FTSE. But because I manually input my order, that 0.4 of a FTSE point made the difference between being filled and not being filled. And that's on me. Ouch. Stings a bit. $5.23 was the last 5-minute candle's high before the market opened. If you add 20 points to that, you get 43. That's where the espresso would trigger a long position. I'm just going to draw that in. I think it's a good reference point. I would be inclined to be a buyer of the DAX here. I think I'll do that somewhere else. That's more like a, shall we say, not entirely gut feel, but reading the price action subjectively. I will stick to school run and what we generally talk about here. Today's Tuesday, as you know, but in case you didn't know, it is Tuesday. And so tomorrow, it is time for our weekly elocution lessons. This week's teacher is coming from Germany, which I'm not sure should be qualified to give elocution lessons. Yeah, today we shall sing all together now. But nevertheless, that is the man that we will be taking guidance and advice from. I wonder if he's tuning in today. Are you tuning in today? Yeah, apparently he is. Yeah. And are you ready for tomorrow? Ja? Und? Immer ready. That is a little bit of a mix of German and English. I approve. It's very good. Mach schnell. It makes me sparse. I'm impressing you with my German. What I'm not impressing you with is my horrible order execution. No, you didn't really want to be long the FTSE at 604, did you? Fuck's sake. I'll delete that order. Oh man. That sucks. You really don't want to have too many of those experiences. They'll cost you. Damn. That would have been a 1.6% winner right there. Bear with me 1 second, I forgot my water. I'm back. I got water. All is well. We have 15 minutes in. Let's look at the state. First bar, positive, but inconclusive. A lot of tail on either side. Body firmly in the middle of the overnight range. But positive. And gap up. Let's not forget that. Can have a look at the daily chart. I don't think I'm going to win any prizes for predicting new all-time highs. Just to reaffirm, no open positions, no open orders, no transactions today. For a moment, it looked bullish up here. Sellers are stepping in with confidence, it seems. I like going over to the 1 minute chart from time to time. You can keep an eye on the prices up there in the tabs. I think it's easy to get consumed on a 1 minute chart by the latest bars. So, oh my God, it's headed back down again. Whilst the 10 minute chart would perhaps give you a different perspective. Going, no, it's all well. We got a bull close on one. Target is the overnight high. We got 10 minutes left. Still got an inside bar on 2 on the 15th minute. That just made a new high. We got aggressive school run setting up long and short. I like to use aggressive school run when the market is strongly trending. Can't say that it is today. I think that should also be part of the note that I need to publish, is the context of using ASIS. I will remove them so to not confuse anybody. I think everybody is expecting this to be bullish, but no one is really stepping up to buy and take it to new highs. The last 15-minute candle has a high of 62, the previous 61. 61.3 to 62.4. I mean, that's a one tick. Seems like my overnight range has disappeared in the... There we go. I changed the overnight range a little bit. It is entirely user defined, so you can do what you want with my software. Got 5 minutes left. Currently we have one positive 15 and a second positive 15. Overnight range high is 70. We just hit 68.3. Got some connection issues with Telegram, it would seem, just so you know. Shut up, Telegram. Double top. Already FTSE is establishing a trading range. I'm sure your mind is sending you thoughts and feelings throughout the trading day, as does mine. And the feeling I had a moment ago, I should probably sell 21, 22. It's probably already in a trading range. What is it that Wayne Gretzky, the famous hockey player, said? You miss 100% of the shots you don't take. It's a nice soundbite, isn't it? Sprinkled with a, or shall we say, grounded in a massive amount of truth. Somebody asked me if I would take first bar negative if the FTSE came back to this area later. Probably not. Statistically, I don't think there's anything wrong with it. But if it, say it happened in a couple of hours' time, would I? Probably wouldn't be what had my attention at that time. So we got a real situation to tackle. We have got a school run bar, which for all intents and purposes could be either positive or negative. You know, the second bar, right now it is hovering very close to being negative with 20 seconds to go. Also, whilst technically it's not an inside bar, I would argue that the range outside is so marginal, you know, depending on where it closes now. There you go, pushing. So will I buy? Well, I feel like I probably have to, but I will be buying right up against the overnight range. So the high is 568 and I got a new high at 569. That doesn't warrant or trigger a long, but it is remarkably close. I probably will be inclined to go on the long side on the school run, so please stand by. So I'm clicking the order in, entry at 570. But you must be fully aware of what it is that I'm doing. I'm basically buying right at overnight resistance. I am mindful of it. Okay, so now we got a different scenario unfolding. We got bar 1 positive, bar 2 positive, bar 3 not triggering the high, sellers coming in 1 point above bar 2. Fine. What do we do if we get down to 536? We're currently trading at 551. What do we do if the market goes down to 536? Do we take a long on the ante, or do we take a short? Someone asked me, what would I do if I had been long? Well, first of all, my stop loss would be break even, for sure. Secondly, I imagine that the individual asking me probably wants to know if there's a target in mind. And I would say the overnight high. Don't forget to add. Bar 2 is for all intents and purposes an inside bar of bar 1. Bar 3 is for all intents and purposes an inside bar of 2. And 1, 2, and 3 are all inside bars of the overnight range. That's the mood. There's no desire to embrace risk in the sense of being unafraid of buying new highs. A good question came in. Am I considering the Dow Jones price action during the DAX? No. I argue, Rob, that what you're seeing here in the Dow is a direct causation of what the DAX is doing. So if the DAX was to rally, the Dow would as well. The volume that you're seeing at this hour is microscopic. So I refuse to be drawn into the argument that it's the US leading Europe. On the contrary, I believe it is Europe leading the US futures. Why do I argue that? Because volume dictates direction. So here's some old examples. First bar positive, second bar positive, gap up. Look how the third bar breaks. Oh, how's this one for a fucking nightmare? Oh, sorry, if the children are listening in, that was Uncle Tom using a bad word. Bad. Sorry about that. Ice cream on me. Bar 1 and 2 are positive. Bar 3 breaks above, but it's a short-lived break, isn't it? And here's what I don't want to happen is bar 1 and 2 positive, and then, whoa, you get sideways trapped for the next 2 hours. I'm trying to find a suitable analogy for that, but that only thing I can think about involves brothels and Amsterdam and stuff like that. So let's not go there. What I would like to see is what happened on the 11th of Feb. Nice push higher. Third candle breaks lower. Goes below low 2. That's a clear sell. It was there. Wow, I made money on a hindsight trade. Hypothetically speaking. Then I got one here where the data is somewhat obfuscated by the what do you call that? The mast? I don't know. So we got 1, we got 2. Ooh, 3 triggers you in. Maybe. Probably would. Although that's an anti. But the action doesn't come until later in the day. Four is just not interesting. I think if I were to get filled in the DAX, I wouldn't necessarily expect to fire on all cylinders straight up. I just can't see that happening. And the FTSE already settling into a nice trading range. So for anybody who is a trend follower in the FTSE, the patience you need. If you are a scalper in a range-bound market, fair to say that you have a much better time of this. We are 37 minutes into the trading session. And so far, all I have to show for it is some rude thoughts about what it would do to me to be long DAX on a breakout, and a missed opportunity in the FTSE first bar negative. That 543 seems to be a nice line in the sand, doesn't it, ladies and gentlemen? Can't help but think that the surprise side is the downside for the DAX. If you want to be a buyer of the FTSE, where would you buy? Probably swap over to a 10-minute time frame, and then what you want to be a buyer down here around 10, thereabouts. And in the DAX, what would you do? 10 minutes just broke below lower previous 10 minute. Some traders saw that as an opportunity to buy around 42. Of course, what could also happen is this. Wouldn't that be lovely? Down around here, I will be dishing out the phone number to Crisis Helpline, saying, hello, yes, hi, I have a crisis. Yes, what is the nature of the crisis? Well, I'm a trader and I'm stuck in a horrible range-bound DAX market. Click. Hello, I need help, I'm in a crisis. Looking at old charts is like looking at old snapshots of yourself from 30 years ago. Oh my God, I was so good looking. Oh, look at that hair. It's sort of a very soothing feeling, isn't it? Also, I would like to state for the record, I don't drink alcohol, I don't do drugs. So everything that you might interpret as slightly euphoric as a result of substances, I assure you it is simply just the joy of being here with you in this very present moment. My biggest sin to date for the last 8 days was that on Saturday I bought a packet of cashew nuts that were sort of coated in some cayenne thing. Very nice. Thought, oh, I'm having a treat this Saturday. Yeah. What a sad and lonely life I live. Oh, yeah. Anybody know any good jokes? It just feels like joke time, doesn't it? Even if we were to break out here at 70, how much would you trust this breakout? Notice what the FTSE just did. Cleared out whatever weak hands was below candle 2, 3 and 4 and straight back into the range. Okay. Well, you might want to laugh at me now when I buy the high of the day, which I just did. So there you go. We're in it now. Sorry, I am in it now. I don't know what you're doing. $24, $5.70. I could have sworn my order was at $5.70. It says $5.71. 24, $4.91 is my stop loss. Perhaps a tad high. You know, all things considered. Let's move that stop loss up to the higher 3. Stop loss at 24, 540. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to do something here very soon. If I get 10 points in profit, I'm going to half my stake size because I don't trust that this is going to rally significantly from here. I'm closing half here. I want to trade this in reduced stake size. I've closed half for about 5 points or so. Let's have a look. About 4 points. I do not trust this at all. And then I'm moving my stop loss up. I would say the body starts at 60. I'm putting my stop loss at 50. I obviously don't know what the future will hold. No idea. But my gut feel and experience tells me that this is not necessarily how big trending moves start. If it does decide to trend, well, then I got a position on. But I have managed my risk according to the environment. I'm going to write that note. Reduced my stake size by half. Now stop at minus 20. Let's see what the DAX has to give today. Okay, so there you go. That's my perspective of this. Happy to be proven wrong. If I'm wrong, then my my loss is, I think, quite conservative. If I'm right, well, look, if it all of a sudden develops, then I can add to the existing trade. You can begin to do targets if you want to. You can take the overnight range and you can project that upwards if you want. So that would look like something like this. Clone it, there we go. Okay, you are making it a little difficult here. Chart package. So if I clone the drawing, why doesn't it want to do that? Looks like we got a little bit of an issue. So I'll do it manually. 475 high to 570. Sorry, 470 low. So 100 points from 570. So call that 670, which would be somewhere up here. That's a target, or it is an idea for a target. Some people are fantastic at drawing targets. Get rid of that. Another target would be that you measure the height of one. You could do it like this, use a fib. And it would look something like this. Oh my God. This charting package is causing me grief this morning. Edit settings. We will add something like 200%. Add, done. So there you go. So the target would be up here at 625. So there you go. So that's sort of gives you some ideas of targets if you are that way inclined, which I know many traders are. Someone sent me a comment saying the biggest joke of the day is when you try and draw on the graph. You know what? That is actually really, really true. Me trying to navigate the charting package. It's a bit like when your mom got hold of the remote control of one of those new smartphones, and you know, with a pointy finger, she's really hammering hard at the keyboard or at the screen, going, fuck's sake, it's not an old typewriter, you know. clash, clash. Like, it's a smartphone. You can't be subtle. Oh, if I was only long the FTSE. I am absolutely a grandmother with this charting package. I'm sure is that gap fill somewhere. Well, up there we have a low of 573. We currently have a, so suppose that's well, as far as I see, we just hit a target, a gap fill target. I'm gonna close my DAX. This looks like it's going nowhere. Close DAX. It was so close to my entry that I just decided that's it. I'm just gonna get out. I think I would have been stopped. I would have been stopped out at break even. So you could say that I made an extra few points. What did I do? Transaction history. Yeah, 75. No open orders. We've got a few minutes left of the existing 15-minute bar, but it's not exactly what a raging bull bar would look like, signaling a trend day. Well, at least not now with 3 minutes to go. My silence is simply just because I am collecting the data from the question I sent out this morning on the Telegram channel. So I'm just copying and pasting. Okay, I would imagine that this is a sell short here at 56. You know, sell on close. Keep an eye on it. I'm not doing anything right now. I'm just collecting data I want to present to you. I'm very grateful for anybody who has posted to me. And I'm not out to mock anybody. You must know that I am just doing this in the pattern yesterday. I believe Al Brooks' method worked for me. I don't really know how that contributes to. No, gonna ignore that. DG, I don't know what Al Brooks' pattern is or method. I think you missed the idea. That's great feedback you gave me, JM. Thank you. Gonna put that just as a standout. I'm just collecting data, just so you know. That's why I'm a little quiet. Paul, you sent me something this morning at 17 minutes past, and you've scribbled in red. You know what? I thought my handwriting was bad, but you take the prize. Is there any chance you could help me decipher what the hell? man, this is so interesting. Also, I have to just alert you that if you haven't sent anything to me in a while, you get an auto responder message, okay? Just so you know. It's not like I feel the need of sending you the same message over and over. Yes, I'm aware I could have traded this, but I actually feel that from an educational standpoint, what we're about to do oh, yeah. Very good. I think we're nearly there. By the way, can I just make something clear? I set up here at 55. Surely this is a sell on close. But I want to make one thing clear. I'm not the kind of person who then goes on, 20 points later to say, oh, but I told you to sell. If I sell, whether for myself or, which I don't really talk about at all, but if I did, and I wanted you to know, I would damn sure make sure that you knew that I was short. Because this whole, oh yeah, do you remember back on bar 7, when the market peaked and I told you sort of vaguely between holding my breath that I would sell? Oh yeah, but now I'm 50 points in profit. That's not what I do here. So I am not trading this. I'm collecting data right now to show you. I just want to make that clear that I listened into, shall we not mention any rooms or names, but I listened into some people over the last 6 months. And one thing that infuriated me was when those traders didn't very specifically say, I sold short here and my stop loss is there. It was sort of a bit of like a passing comment like, all right, well, see you tomorrow, which means I may see you tomorrow, I may not see you tomorrow. Just want to make that absolutely clear. I don't fuck about, and I'm not here to deceive you either. Glad we got that one out of the way. I'm learning new words here. You guys have quite the vocabulary. Rangy. I guess that means rangy, didn't it? Right. I think I got one more. Okay. Man, I'm Valentin. I want to tell you something. Okay, that's probably a little bit personal. Valentine, thank you for your prostate comment. I will not post that, obviously. That is it's a beautiful message. Very heartfelt. Thank you. That's very kind of you. Yeah, that was a crazy reading your father had, I must say. Right. I think that's it. Last one. Okay, so let's do this. I don't know where this is going to end up. You might want to tune out now and go, yeah, fuck that. Yeah, David, I got that. At that rangy is kind of a play on word for you're angry that it's range bound. Rangy. Yeah, I get it. It's actually it's brilliant. I am Casper. Is that an Excel spreadsheet you got? Okay, so here we go. See if we can do this. So the chart that we're looking at is yesterday's pattern. This is, allow me to explain, the bar that you're seeing here is pre-market. Then you have bar 1, and then you have bar 2. And the question I asked then is, and I'm fully aware that the DAX is trading lower now, but now it's education. Do I trade bar 2, which is this one here? Do I sell short here? Or do I treat it as an anti because bar 1 is positive and bar 2 is an inside bar of bar 1, almost. And up here, do I buy the long side or do I sell short on an anti? So I asked people, what did you come up with? And this is what people sent me. This is last slide of antis, so it's just a. So this is what I have received this morning. I asked the question, what did you think when you saw that pattern? So we'll go through them and see if there's anything here. Dow pattern yesterday. I looked at this as a pause bar, and I just want to have it here ready to show. And I bought below second 15 bar for a continuation. So in case you don't know what happened, sorry, that's not it. This is what happened. This is bar 1. Right here. This is bar 2. And here are the brackets. Okay, so we'll refer to that. We'll go back to the PowerPoint. So the person who wrote that, you would say, okay, you got slaughtered. Obviously, it depends on where you bought, because when I look at it, I would argue, okay, well, unless you got stopped out there, and it wouldn't have made sense for you to get stopped out here, because if you are a buyer below bar 2, you would at the very minimum have a stop loss below bar 1. Otherwise, having a stop loss in this range between this low and down here wouldn't make that much sense. And then the market closes inside and pushes higher later. And I wonder if there wasn't enough opportunity for you to move your stop loss to break even. If you had an entry around 400 and the market goes 450, 60, maybe you need to consider being more aggressive with your stop losses. Dow pattern yesterday, this is another person. I don't think that this is a particular for the pattern yesterday, but I found that the school run has significantly lower win rate if the price moves back into the SRS range. So what I do is that I always trade the normal SRS and then put stop at break even as early as possible. Wise. And then if I get stopped out, I don't trade the pattern. I never go with the anti. This seems to work very well for me at least. I don't know if this is what you're asking. It is what I'm asking. I wanted that kind of feedback. Thank you. Have a nice day. And to you as well, DF. I saw the Telegram message too. I have really nothing to base this on, but my feeling of what I have been seeing is that the greatest president, as he likes to call himself, often makes a call that the market doesn't like during the weekend, war-related recently, which leads to a pretty significant gap overnight down. But since he's mostly all talk, that orange weird-looking man, the market often closes the gap during the day's trading. That's what I can recall seeing. If that goes counter to what I first believed would happen, okay. Gap down should lead to continuation lower. Have you looked into this? I have to admit I have. I think they have an expression for that called the taco precedent. But thank you for your thank you for your input. It was actually really fun to read. All right, let's go on to the next one. This is from George with a nice, lovely picture of George there. Sorry, George, I don't know if you actually wanted this to be out there, but there you go. Good morning, Tom. Yesterday's Dow, Nasdaq, and S&P 500 were a strategy nightmare. Okay, great that you didn't trade the Dow. I usually trade Nasdaq in the first bar breakout accompanied with moving averages, and I have your stream open since you are a great company. Thank you very much. So, as I trade using lower time frames, 1 and 5 minute, I was observing a roller coaster going up and down the moving averages, creating spikes and large wicks, with at least 9 out of 10 1-minute candles being inside bars. I was an asshole. We are so brutally honest with each other today, aren't we? I was an asshole and entering a trade in such a situation, and I ended my streak of wins that I held since the 25th of March. Congratulations on that. Sorry I had to end on you being an asshole. But as you said, or actually wrote in Best Loser Wins, I hope that I learned from my mistake, and the next time I'll not enter a trade either. George, thank you for the feedback. I am sure that your sentiment is shared by many. Okay, Dow pattern yesterday. It's fairly easy to state the obvious afterwards. Yes, I agree. But right at the completion of SIS bar, I was unsure what to do. Okay, let's just have a look at it again. So this is the bar that this gentleman is talking about right here. Right at the completion, we got a bull bar, and then we got a right old, could have been either way, bullish, bearish. Let's get rid of that. Okay. But right at the completion of SIS bar, I was unsure what to do. I guess I watched other charts for clue, as did I. After a while, S&P 500 Nasdaq started to print red bars, so I decided to short with normal SIS. That was a good decision. While in shorts, Trump said something too, causing a big spike lasting a few seconds. Got out, and that must be that's down here. Well played to you. Truly well played. So what we can learn from here is that you actually related the Dow, what we're seeing here, with the S&P 500 and the Nasdaq, and because they were beginning to show, shall we say, negative overtures, you decided to follow that momentum, thinking that that would affect the Dow as well. I like your thinking. I think it's good thinking. I use that myself frequently. In fact, I would like to draw your attention to a story that I read about Charlie DeFrancesca, you know, the legendary bond trader. He said, we all trade correlations. But when I read it the first time, I thought, yeah, but that's because he's a spreader. He spreads the US government bond June contract against the September contract. A bit like somebody trading soybeans, and they're going long August soybeans, but then they short October soybeans, thus trading what we call the spread. But then when I reread it, I actually realized that that's not what Charlie D was talking about, ladies and gentlemen. He would be standing in the bond pit, and he would be looking at what's dollar yen doing, what's the Dow Jones doing. And because of the, shall we say, the vibes that he got from other pits, equity pit, which frequently goes opposite, you know, if money pours out of bonds and into equities, or money pours out of equities into bonds, he used that as a gauge to, do I want to be long the market? Do I want to be short the market? So I really like your comment here, and thank you for sharing. And I hope my comment added to it was helpful. Dow pattern yesterday. I traded as normal SIS because it spikes up on the open, fully fills the 19th, 20th, that's dates gaps, and then an inside bar forms showing that there aren't many aggressive buyers. So either it reverses and targets the top bottom of the overnight range, which it did, the top, and targets Friday's high. If there wasn't a gap, I'd probably buy in both directions based on the aggressive buyers on open. Fair enough. You know, if you did buy yesterday, you wouldn't have been doing too badly. Say that you bought down here, just below. Sure, you got some heat to begin with. Stop loss probably wasn't threatened. And somewhere up here, you'd probably say, I'm doing quite well now. I got 60 odd points in profit. I should probably move my stop loss from here up to break even. If you had done that, hey, great trade. All right, let's see what else we got. Hi Tom, I would have bought below the low and bought above the high. Decent amount of bullish momentum. Expect continuation. That is box standard, straight out of the bag Al Brooks stuff there. I'm on board with you. Absolutely. It's not very nuanced, and that's not criticism. It doesn't take into account overnight range, etc. But I'm with you. Dow trade yesterday. Answer: do nothing. You had to start the trade above the bar of 130. Now you have to wait until retracement ends. Yeah, okay. Thank you. Good morning, Tom. I saw this potential supply area on the left, but didn't short even though there was a weakness on the 5-minute chart. Now I'm going to have to bring up the actual Dow chart and see what you mean by supply area. So let's just have a look at that. Okay. Supply area. What are you seeing to the left? This thing over here, perhaps? Not sure what you mean. I mean, I know what a supply area is. I kind of define it as chasing orders, chasing liquidity. Maybe you're arguing that this area here, look how good I am at drawing these lines now. Maybe this area here is an old, this is old support, it breaks, and now you're defining that as resistance. Yeah, okay, fair enough. I hope that this is worthwhile your time. But I didn't short even though there were weakness on the 5-minute chart. The lower high after your quick long scalp should have been a trigger to sell short, but sadly my focus was on something else. All right. I think I can see your chart up there. And I'm sorry I didn't actually notice that when I screenshot, but it does look like you are watching something. Okay, fair enough. I may have missed something. Thank you, Mr. J. I believe that as people that trade more often breakouts and trends, it could be interesting to let some price action pass, specifically doji bars. Allow me to elaborate. We could have the second 15-minute bar be a continuation on the direction of the first bar, school run, or be a reversal of the first bar with two general types of reversals. Reversal that breaks the ranges of the first 15-minute possible SRS, or a reversal that closes inside the ranges of the first bar anti-SRS. Now, for these reversals, I believe the length of the body of this second 15-minute bar is what could have given us insight. All right, let's look at it again. So this gentleman here is paying attention to the length of it. There's no doubt that it is an indecisive bar, and it is significantly shorter than the previous bar. Okay, so, great. It could have given an insight into the possible strength of the following price action. Having a doji with long wicks and a variable feeble body such as yesterday's Dow could indicate uncertainty, and in this case we could wait further price action to see if there is any strength on the trend building or if it forms a trading rate. I think what you're expressing there is what I attempted to express to you all yesterday. This doesn't look like the kind of bar where I think this is going to fly higher. But on the other hand, considering the strength that we saw pre-market and bar one, I wasn't inclined to be overtly bearish either. Also, I believe that the continuation candle of the school run needs to be inspected too, because if we have a doji second 15-minute bar that closes breaking above or below the ranges of the first bar by a difference of 1 to 5 points, we need to see where the longer, we could use a comma in here, we would need to see where the longer wick of that second 15-minute candle is. Is it inside the first 15 or outside, and how long is the wick? Yeah, we do have some very long wicks on this particular bar, which basically you could almost argue, and this might be a push, but how about this for an argument? When you have a body like this, and you have a body like that, and you have a body like that, maybe the real trade doesn't come until you truly break and close below these, which is what you did down there. Interesting. Just perspectives, of course. All right, let's move on. I like those ideas. Thank you so much for sharing, Mr. A with an apostrophe above. Hi Tom, this is from LS. Hi Tom, I just saw your message. There are so many times that I was sitting looking at the school run thinking about the ante that I've learned just to trust the SIS. Needless to say, I had short orders in on both markets. I was in a meeting, yeah, still working full time. Oh, I know that feeling, LS. We've all been there. And when the news spike came, it activated and I took around 50 points on each while I was working. It should have been a lot more, but when I am in meetings, I take my monies I wanted for the day and leave. Doji usually means pull back for me, pull back on the breakout. And it was at 2:45, 15 minutes before the hour. So I just took it as hence my short order on the Dow. NAS had a similar but just stronger. So that was more of a chancer for me. Thank you, man. That's a good perspective. All right. So this is the guy. And I really want to know what the hell he's writing there. But maybe it is in here. So Paul, Dow pattern yesterday, 5 minutes, second part here is the trade of B13, so that was up here. Confirms bearish break from trading range, entry above B16, half of B17 at 100% risk, i.e. Risk to reward at 101, rest to break even, but got stopped out on break even in the second half. So you know that my bars colors mean blue, bull bar closing 9% or more of the body, red is close of 100. Okay, that's quite the setup you got here, Paul. Fuck knows if I know what you're writing. I hope that you're a better trader than your handwriter. Is that rude? Sorry, Paul. So. It's a fascinating chart, Paul. I can't take my eyes off it. It's like a Picasso unfolding. You guys following the DAX? Okay, Paul, there's so much I want to ask you, but if I'm being really honest with you, I can't quite see. Breakout confirm, something entry above, I don't know, Paul. Definitely don't know what that is. Is that brokering or is that BROALEU? Oh, sorry, man. We'll get to it. Good morning from Birkelse in Denmark. Now, I'll be honest with you. I have no fucking idea what that is. Sorry. It could be anywhere. I've never heard of that. In my opinion, it was worth trading the classic school run. The market opened at the close of a gap, so a pullback and retest of the impulse consisting of two large bullish candles on the 15-minute chart was to be expected. Okay. Yes, it was an inside bar, but in a classic school run, we see a clear impulse that is essentially able to absorb the first 15 minutes. And if that impulse is missing, we act as weak buyers trying to catch the last train. I like your metaphor. I also noted that statistically, the opening of the American market tends to retest the pre-market impulse rather than continuing it immediately. So I think shorting as a classic school run was a better idea. Fair enough. Fair enough. Dow pattern yesterday, I would call it a pirkedag. That's Danish. So what a pirkedag means is that you're taking a sickie, a day off. Dow pattern yesterday, okay, blah, blah, that's Danish. I don't think it helps that I read you in Danish. Dow pattern yesterday, I went in the direction that it broke, but because it was an inside bar, it was also doji or whatever you call it. That's actually what it says, whatever you call it. And what often happens with a doji on many time frames is that it breaks. It will often go in the direction there it breaks. Thanks, DF. So what you're saying here is that you got a doji here and it breaks. So you would sell short here. You got to take some heat here, but then the force was with you. I hope that you're finding this worthwhile. Right, so Guy, he posts this. My God, some people's charts are just... Dow pattern, I suppose it says Dow, not down pattern. Dow pattern yesterday. Hi, Tom. This is what I saw for me. It was in a range, choppy. The points did not leave the ORB. What the fuck does stand? Does ORB stand for overnight range breakout? Or is ORB some technical concept? In 10 minutes to guidance. For me, I do not look for reasons to trade when the price is in this range. What you see below is the EMA 821 on the hourly. All right. Okay, fair enough. Is ORB something order block or it's probably maybe I think it's order block, isn't it? I think it's order block. But I could actually be wrong. ORB apparently stands for opening range breakout. That's what I thought, but maybe it is this. Right, look, I appreciate you contributing. I'm not sure what you're saying, but I get a sense that you didn't want to trade this. Okay, now this is a long one. That's what she said. Based on my previous research, bar 1 high was at 49,470. Bar 2 was 49,480. Since bar 1 has a total range of 134 points, the 2.8 difference is negligible. So I consider bar 2 to be an inside bar. I am with you on that, brother. Absolutely with you on that. Oops. According to my data, when bar 2 is an inside bar 1, the best results are achieved by waiting for the following bar and using that as reference. So what you're saying here is that we should use bar 3 as our reference. So long above and short below. Now that is real golden. Okay, so we're just going to circle this, which apparently we can't. Okay, there we go, we can. Based golden, love it. Based on this analysis, I have two distinct paths depending on whether I follow pure research or market context. 1, following research blindly. If I follow my data strictly, I would have waited for bar 3 to establish the SIS and traded the breakout, in this case selling the lower bar 3. Fair play. It would have been successful, yielding a max of 128 points on the short side, which definitely, if I can just add a comment, would have meant that you would have been able to move your stop loss to break even. Considering market context, taking the strong uptrend into account, I would likely have applied the Al Brooks 80% concept, which suggests an 80% chance of the next bar breaking the previous high in trend market. To be perfectly honest, I would have bought the prior bar low using a combination of anti and buy prior bar low, BPPL, buy prior bar low. Result, while the research-based concept, option 1, would have been a winner, the context-driven would have resulted in a stop loss. Yeah, good thinking. Bloody good thinking. On a personal note, I'm still finding my balance between mechanical entries based on situational analysis, ARS, school run, and the trading techniques that remain mechanical, buy below prior bar low, buy on close, bet on the breakout range, Beautiful, beautiful message. Big tick from me. Thank you so much for contributing. Really, really valuable. To me, it was definitely the anti-trade way above the overnight range. It would also have offered the opportunity to double top on a position if the Dow then broke the high of the school run to a bar. Stop would have been around 70 points. Fair play. So you were going to trade this as an anti. Okay. No messing about. If I look at your chart without any hindsight, just focusing on the present moment, that is so David Paul right there. Thank you. I would have a strong buy bias, even consider it always in long. But honestly, when I actually take the trade, for example, entering a buy, there's always a voice in my head that starts to interfere. It keeps telling me the market has already moved up a lot. Yes, I get that. Just take a quick profit. Yes, move your stock to break even immediately. Yeah, I get all of that as well. But you know, I always say to myself, when I get thoughts like that, I say, that's just fear talking. That's just fear talking. I have this mantra that I repeat to myself. That's just fear talking. That's exactly how I feel when I look at this chart. Beautiful. Thank you. Dow pattern yesterday. Good morning, Tom. Up to 4 p.m. I thought that the market was in some sort of accumulation phase. Then, is that American for then? Then I saw the bull hammer on 410. I was convinced that we were going up because I have seen multiple times in the past that the market makes a fake move after accumulation before going strong in the opposite direction. If I was trading this by myself, it would have been a very bad day for me. Thanks to you, I was up 5% on my account. Damn! Big tick. All right, I hope you learned something from it. I think it's incredibly valuable that you verbalize, all of you verbalize, how did I actually feel? How did I think? Because you may just find out that you can trust your gut feel, or you may find out that your gut feel acts as a perfect contrarian indicator. Thank you so much, Mr. Set or C. Okay, nice chart. Hi Tom, I stayed out as pattern looked similar to the 16th of March chart for that day attached. Oh, I do like when somebody brings up an old chart. Chart for that day, Birch. When I got burnt buying. Yeah, we all got that, don't we? I literally bought the top of the morning. Oh, that's a guy after my heart. Somebody who actually owns that he bought the high of the day. I I often buy the high of the day, hoping that it's not the high of the day. Brilliant sharing, Tim. So what you're doing there, not being able to completely see it, this must be a 5-minute chart. So I guess this is the open. So there's the first 15 there, and then you got 1, 2, 3, and then you're buying there, and then ouch. Okay. Flip the switch and shorter there. That's pretty good. Well done. Good work, Tim. Really good work. Thank you for sharing. Okay, Mr. Set here says the SIS indicate anti-long, but the third 50-minute bar was negative and didn't reach the high of the second bar, so would be short below. Bloody hell, Sabi, that's to the point, isn't it? There's no messing about with you. It's like, I'm buying here, you don't perform. You know what you remind me of, Sabi? You remind me of you know that that program. It's both on in America and also in the United Kingdom, and I think it's called The Apprentice or The Boss or something like. And it basically just says, yeah, you're not delivering, you're fired. Well done, Sabi. Well traded. I love your quick decision making. There's no doubt. You're, as my friends would say, you're not burdened by doubt. Dow pattern yesterday, I took a small quarter position taking the ante. I was strongly influenced by the previous 9 consecutive bull bars. The Brooksism, that's Al Brooks, always in long rattling around my head, and endured a painful 45 minutes and eventually getting stopped out. Your hesitancy fortunately influenced me to make it a very small size. Thank you very much. I know who this is, but we shall remain anonymous if you don't want your name. Morning, Tom. For another time, maybe, in the run-up to a trading day or session, how, apart from charts or research, do you prepare? Meditate, visualize, music, move your body? Sure. So the market, depending on where I am in the world, but say that I'm in Copenhagen, the market opens at 9 o'clock. My day actually starts at 4:30 in the morning. And in those early morning hours, I have a program that I go through. I very much subscribe to the notion that you should eat the frog early. Do you know that concept? Eat the frog early? Eat the frog early is not something I invented. I think somebody wrote about it. I didn't read that book, but somebody told me. And the essence of it is, you have certain things that you like to do every single day. Try and get them done as early as possible when your energy is perhaps lacking, rather than late in the day when your energy is lacking. I visualize, and I meditate, and I certainly move my body. And then I I have a meal which is very specific, very targeted meal. I don't go for cornflakes and shit like that, nor do I eat croissants and drink apple juice or orange juice or whatever. It's a very high fiber, very high protein, and also fats, but very little carbohydrates. I usually have 2 or 3 training sessions a day, and so I say that first I do cardio in the morning, and then I do calisthenic exercises. And I call that 2 separate training sessions because they're about an hour each. And then in the afternoon, after we have traded, I will exercise again. So 2 days a week, I'll just do what I call light recovery. 3 days a week, I will do weights. And 2 days a week, I will do cardio. And one of those 2 cardio is very hard sprinting work, very hard. And the other could be either another hard sprinting work or it's playing some insane squash match, which I haven't been able to do in a while because of my frozen shoulder. So now you know a little bit about me. Okay. Hello, Tom. Yesterday I wanted to short the break of this bar in any direction since to me this market couldn't push higher, but I also did nothing and decided not to trade this range-bound market. Okay, fair enough. I asked ChatGPT about this pattern. Its view was that the market still looked bullish overall, but already stretched. At the same time, bar 1 did not look like a clean failed breakout, so it was not a proper anti-SIS either. It also was not an easy long after such a strong move up. So the conclusion was possible exhaustion, but no confirmed. Curious how you saw it. Well, I think I made that. Okay, Dow pattern only got 1 order in after next to felt very rangy. That's the another move the R and then you got very angy, rangy. Very, very interesting chart with deviation markers, which looks like a sort of range expansion, doesn't it? I like that thinking. All right. That is an interesting concept. Close above bracket, pending buy order on bracket. Very interesting. Dow pattern yesterday. The first bar clearly and completely covered the opening gap, fill completed. Friday at the close of the market, the price formed a supply zone, which could be a rejection zone, larger or smaller. Okay, so there was the supply zone again. The Trump post was a bit negative too, up there on Friday at 7 p.m. CET. The candle on the 15 left a fair value gap, which could be a magnet. There's some concepts there that I know of, but I can't say I use them, nor am I strong in their application, which could be a magnet for where the price go. Okay. Conclusion 51%, the balance looks sell short. That's to the point. 51%. I wonder if he took the trade. Tom, I have problem with school runs when the second bar is wicking out or off over the night range. Any tips on how to trade? Well, that's what this has been all about. Now, what I want to do is I want to show you something which I think is going to really hammer home what we have done this morning. So just bear with me. Because what I'm about to do now is I'm about to strip away the pre-market. You see, in the pre-market, we had an enormous push higher. And then we had this. But what if I showed you something completely different? What if I showed you a replay bar? So here's Friday. This is Friday. So I'm going to draw a vertical line. So there you go. So that's Friday. Now let's look at Monday, which was yesterday. First bar, positive. See that? So now I only see, I don't see the pre-market, I only see this bar here. And so now you're looking at this bar here and you're thinking, well, that doesn't look that convincing. Now comes the second bar. This is what we were faced with yesterday. But because we were so enamored by what was going on in the overnight market, we basically went from 49,150 up to 450. We are thinking, oh my God, this market is amazingly bullish. But if you only look at it isolated in context of the previous trading day, which was Friday, with a high here, a low here, and sort of a support and somewhat. If you just saw this signal right here, bar 1, bar 2, would you go, oh, that's an absolute clear cut? I would say, well, maybe, yeah, you could be persuaded to be a buyer above, but maybe this should just be traded as a normal SIS. And then you do get taken short if you trade it as a normal SIS. But on this chart here, bar 2 is an inside bar, bar 1. And then bar 4, another indecision bar, where bar 4 is an inside bar, bar 3. And by the way, bar 4 is also an inside bar, bar 2, and bar 1, which should be clear to you here if I remove all of these lines. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 inside bar 3, 4 is inside of 2, 4 is inside of 1. And then you get a break. And then you get the rest of the day looking like this, which, let's face it, is anybody who loves trading ranges. So out of everything that we have been through in the last half an hour or so, I would say that the comment that I perhaps liked the most was I think it was this one here. I really quite liked the gentleman who says, right, if I follow research, but if I follow market context. And there was another comment that I really liked, which was, when I have a second bar like this one, I use the third bar as my, where was that? Don't know. It's there somewhere. I use the third bar as my guide rather than the second, which means that we would have used this instead. So, fantastic feedback, if you don't mind me saying so. And it made this particular trading session with you very interesting, very different, I think. And I liked it. I really liked it. So I want to thank you for that. Now let's look at what we did miss. So bar 5 on the 15 broke down, and then it was followed by a big push higher. So I think that's what they call a bear trap, isn't it? Is that what they call bear mince? Or they made mincemeat of the bears? Not that I've ever tasted bear, but then again, in fairness, I've never tasted bull meat either. I did have an opportunity to have a bull steak in Pamplona when I rammed with the... there was a time when I was a lot more foolish and drank alcohol, and those two combinations is a dangerous combination when you run with the bulls in Pamplona during the San Fanino festival in Pamplona in month of July, I think it is. Fun though, if you get away with it. They have this mean drink called half cola, half red wine, or half cheap red wine. Man, you get slaughtered on that shit. So no, I haven't tasted bear mince, nor have I tasted bull meat. So I think we did all right with the school run today. And the FTSE is just being the FTSE. So, ladies and gentlemen, is it time for us to call it a morning? I want to thank you generally. I really enjoyed having this conversation with you. I hope that you enjoyed it too. See you later. Yeah. Until then, stay strong. Here's what I did today. 2 trades. Got very little to show for it. But that's okay. And yes, I did actually miss a very big FTSE trade, which would have made me quite a lot. You take care. See you later, guys. Love you lots. Bye-bye.